Hey, happy new year, everyone. And we are live and uh, glad to welcome you back after an eventful 2020. We have with us David, and we also have our special guest, Vicky Brewster. And we will be talking to her today as part of our new webinar format. Uh, but before we jump into that, let us quickly take a look at what we have for you today. So let's view the agenda for today. All right, so we'll start with fireside chat with Wiki. Then we will take a look at quick actions feature that is introduced in Deskera books. We'll see how we can create segments based on campaign filters. And then we'll go through our regular demo of Deskera books, CRM, and people. In between, please drop in your questions and doubts and clarifications that you might need in the comment section. We will answer them. And yeah, so here it is. Welcome to 2021 with Deskera Monday Matters webinar, and handing over to Vicky and David as well. So, Vicky, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Nice to be
Hey,
here.
great
Happy
to
New
have you
Year.
here. And thank you for all the great support and encouragement that you have provided to the Deskera team and to other community members as well. My heartfelt thanks to you. And it's great to have you here. And let's start with, could you tell us as to what your business is and what do you do?
So I'm a trained social worker. I've been a social worker for 23 years. I'm a former therapist. My business is coaching actually on a area that most people wouldn't think about going into. So it's loss and grief. But for me, I know that that's my mission. That's my passion. I'm good at it. I've been doing it unknowingly in a sense for the past 23 years. So it's called Lilac Coaching. People ask me why that name. I actually named it kind of in honor of my maternal grandmother because lilacs were her favorite flower and it's her favorite color. And she was a huge mentor and inspiration to me. She's the one that taught me all about like homeopathic and organic and natural eating and things. And it's my way of honoring her. So that's a little bit about my business. Yep.
Awesome. How has your experience been? 2020 was a difficult year for many small businesses. How did you went through that year? What are some learnings that you would like to share with us about handling such a period in our lives?
I'll be honest, it was a very challenging year. I'm going to use that word because I think words make a difference. I dealt with a lot, to be honest. So in case you didn't realize, pandemic hit here in Montreal back in like mid-March, like full stream, and nobody was prepared. Even my work was not prepared. And we were all frantically running around trying to get things organized. And I work with seniors. I worked with seniors for 20 years. And we were delivering food cards and grocery shopping and whatever. And I actually got sick with whatever. It doesn't really matter at this point what it was. I was told to isolate myself for 6 weeks in my home, and I was told to quarantine myself for 5 weeks by myself. And I did. So I went into my living room for 5 weeks. I was pretty out of it for a couple weeks, and honestly, I don't remember a lot of that time, and that's probably a good thing. Um, but I wasn't allowed to see my kids. I had to send my kids to their dad, and I didn't see them for a month. Um, my partner at the time, I was told to isolate myself from them because they had health issues. And you got to remember back then, it really wasn't known about COVID and they didn't have a lot of details about it. Um,
Mhm.
so we were just kind of going along with whatever Health Canada said. And they just said, stay in isolation. If you don't have the typical symptoms of like respiratory issues, stay home. So my doctor said, don't go to a hospital, don't go to a clinic, which were really overwhelmed here. And I was afraid if I went, I wouldn't come back home. So I stayed home. But I was lucky. I had a lot of contacts, blessed, both in India and Africa. And they all sent me all these like naturopathic remedies, things I could order online. And they helped me. And that's kind of how I got through that time. So
Oh,
I'll be honest, I think some of my tips are um, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. If people have not already, they're going to continue to learn a lot about themselves because a lot of people are forced to be in their homes. Some people have partners or spouses or kids, and some don't. Some are totally alone, and that's not easy. So I think you need to reach out. I think you need to connect with people, whether it's like on this type of thing, whether it's Zoom or different places. Go on Facebook, go on social media. Um, I make it a point because of what I went through, and so many people reached out and checked in with me. Like I actually had people that would send me messages: "Are you eating? Are you sleeping? How are you feeling today?" And again, I've been on LinkedIn for 8 years, and I've been on social media for a while, so I had a lot of connections that were checking in with me, and I so appreciated that. That I do that. That's my way of giving back. I do that now. So I've let people know that they can direct message me through Facebook and other LinkedIn and other avenues if they need somebody to chat with, connect with, because it's not easy. Like imagine I got through it, and it's a huge learning experience. But imagine being alone in a room for 5 weeks.
I cannot actually. Uh, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting point that you brought up that if there was no social media, then quarantine and this period would have been that much more difficult for everybody.
Yep.
So lack of social media, lack of technology, like for example, Zoom or
Mm-hmm.
Skype or any other
Yep.
remote working applications, right? I mean, if they were not there, then it would have been so much more difficult than what it already is and was. So, I mean, that's one way I believe technology has impacted us, has helped us
Yes.
to get through this
Yes.
difficult period. I mean, imagine this happening, maybe 10 years ago, and it would have been so much more difficult.
I think people need to learn to um, kind of accept themselves, kind of come true to who they are, because you have to rely on yourself, right? So it's an opportunity. You can read, you can learn something new, you can take up a new hobby. If you were somebody like I paint. So one thing that I got back into after coming out of this 6 weeks is I started painting again, and I started sketching, and I started, I knit and I crochet, and I kind of got back into my hobbies that I had put to the side. Because if you're a parent, it's typical, right? You kind of take your own life and you put it to the side and you focus on your kids. Um, so I think for a lot of people, it's a matter of finding ways to keep busy. It's an opportunity to learn about yourself. That's all. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Right? And what impact do you see this pandemic having on your business, on businesses around you, and how do you saw them coping with it?
So I can tell you here, and I'm sure it's not just here in Montreal, but around the world. Like here, we're in lockdown. We were in total, complete lockdown for 2.5 months in the spring, meaning everything was closed. Only essential services were open. Even the island in Montreal, you were not allowed on or off unless you were essential service. So restaurants were closed. So a lot of places have gone out of business, and small family owned businesses or small businesses in general, I think have really taken probably the hardest hit out of anybody. Big stores, like if you're a grocery store, okay, maybe people need food, right? You're going to sell stuff. If you have a grocery store that's part of a chain, you're all around Canada. You're not just in Montreal. So I think it's really entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses. They really got hit the hardest. Um, so I'm a big proponent of trying to support my local businesses as much as possible. Like I'll skip the grocery store and I'll go to my local little store here because I want to support them. I want to keep them in business. I like the fact that I can walk there and be there in 10 minutes. And I think people should do that more. So, like, I take walks every day, and part of my walk is I stop at my local coffee shop, not Tim Hortons, but my local coffee shop because I want to support them and I buy a cup of coffee. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but I think small little things that we each do really helps other people, if that makes sense. Like your local businesses.
Yeah, I mean that makes a difference, and
Um,
that's what we also have been trying to do in a
yes,
different way by trying to get all small businesses online as much as possible with
yes,
enable them to run their entire business online without having the need to invest thousands of tens of thousands of dollars into just running into just running the business, right? So without that need, if we can do that and make and enable all these small businesses to reach out to everybody in their locality, in their neighborhood easily, either through a website or through the books application, wherein they can quickly send payment links after a delivery, for example, and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. That's what we are also trying to. I mean, that's what we also want to help all these local businesses and small businesses and neighborhood, those mom and pop shops.
And they need it. I'll be honest, a lot of small businesses still do paper and pen. So, or think about it. To file my taxes here to go to an accountant cost me $200. No offense, I'm not spending $200 to do that. I'm gonna get a software online and I'm gonna do my taxes myself. Did I miss out on some, I don't know, something I didn't know about? Maybe, but it was free. I didn't pay $200 to an accountant. So for me, I think that some of the things I like about Deskera is the fact that it's all in one. I don't have to buy five different softwares. I can come to one spot. I call it one-stop shopping kind of thing. And I love some of the stuff that you're going to have coming out in the next couple of quarters. And again, I don't have to shop elsewhere. I already have Deskera and I can do it all there. So that I love, to be honest. And I love the community spirit that you all have. So thank you, because it's kind of what I'm about too. So anyway.
Wonderful. So, Vicky, you started using Deskera, I think, about a couple of months ago, and uh, you mentioned that right now, even though you are not using it immediately, but you are using it more for the future, wherein you want to build your email lists and run
Yeah.
campaigns. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your use case. How do you intend to use Teskera? And if there are any areas where you want us to deep dive into today in today's call, wherein David can or I can,
Sure.
talk you through the process or any questions that you may have. We would love to answer that.
Um, so I'm still learning and I learn by watching. So the thing I love about these trainings and the webinars you're doing is each time I watch, even if you're reviewing the same thing, for me, it's good. I mean, for other people, maybe they find it repetitive, but I learn that way. I'm planning for the future. So I'm currently on sick leave from my main job because I was sick back in the spring, and unfortunately, it triggered a lot of other past kind of health issues. And I'm still healing, I'm still recovering, but I'm a lot better than it was. So I've always had
Okay.
side businesses and things that I've done. So I've always kind of had different things I do on the side, and one of them for me, my side business, which is Lilac Coaching, I want to make eventually my business. And it focuses on, again, on loss and grief, and it's not an area a lot of people want to go into. And I get this question like, why did you choose that area? And I'm like, I didn't choose that area. That area chose me. Like it's just what I do, and I think I'm good at it. I can have I can meet with people one on one. I can do group coaching. I participate in mastermind groups. I actually run a grief and loss mastermind group once a week, part of this community I'm part of, which is
Hmm.
amazing. Eventually, I want to do training. Eventually, we're going to go back to some sense of normalcy, as I'm calling it, where we're actually going to return to actually seeing people face to face and not having to rely on this. This will still be here, but the face to face interaction as a social worker, I miss it so much. I want to do trainings. I want to do speeches. I want to bring the topic up and make people more comfortable with it. So a lot of people are not comfortable talking about loss and grief, and my mission is to make the uncomfortable comfortable. That's what I call it, where you can talk about it. And no person, I don't care where you live in the world right now, not one person can say they have not been affected by the pandemic, right? Everybody's been affected in some way. Um, and that's what I want to focus on. So using Deskera will allow me eventually, because I'm still kind of working that way, and I was waiting also till the new year started, and I can do things, whether it's my counting or whatever, I can do it through the program. An email campaign, which obviously I'm going to be working on. I'm going to use it going forward. And being a solopreneur, it's nice to have one software that offers me so much within it. Again, I don't have to buy five different things. I like that one stop kind of shopping thing, to be honest. So that's how I see myself kind of going forward using it. And I've already started talking about it. And, I was chatting with one of my friends who's an accountant, and she's a manager in an accounting firm. And I was telling her about it, and she was almost shocked that I was using it and kind of involved with it, because she's like, "But you're a social worker." I'm like, "Yeah, but I have to do my accounting and bookkeeping like everybody else," you know. So that's what I love about the product, and I'll use it going forward. And I think what I like about it is it's geared for everybody, but I like that you're focused a little bit on the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, the small businesses who are still using paper and pen. You know, it's, and it's
And
affordable, super affordable.
yeah,
So
so that's, I mean, thank you for that. I mean, and did you like amaze your accountant friend with your all your knowledge about bookkeeping and invoicing, etc., that you got by using Deskera?
So I didn't go into all that with her because we're both writers. So actually, usually when we meet, we end up writing together. I did talk about it. I've added her to the group so that she can learn about it, and she'll share with other people. And there's other people I talk about it because a lot of people use QuickBooks and they use all these different programs, and it's look, everybody chooses what they want. But again, if I can use one thing that offers me five different or six different options within it and for a low cost, why wouldn't I? Like, why do I want to buy QuickBooks and I want to buy this and I buy this and I buy this? Like, that all adds up after a while. And those companies don't do these kind of trainings. They don't do these kind of webinars. They don't have that community spirit, which to me is a bonus. So kudos to all of you. So,
Thank you again. I understand that you wanted us to specifically spend some time on the email campaign front.
yes.
So please, any specific thing that you want us to show you in email campaign, or should David just take you through uh, email
Um,
campaigns in general, how to set them up, how to run them?
I'm going to ask David just to do the general if he doesn't mind.
Sounds good.
All right, then,
Perfect.
David, over to you, and
All right.
we need to share this.
So inside here, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So inside here, you can see the campaigns. We have marketing. And this is where you set up your segments. And this is where you can set up your emails. Let me just go drill into segments. And I can add a segment here. I can put in the segment name. So you can think of this like, who am I trying to attract here? Who are the people that this email is directly supposed to be related to? So in this example, I use computers, keyboards, monitors, mouses, for more IT. But of course, your segments would be quite different. More would be, for service based. I was just
It,
thinking what type, like grief, it would be like
no,
some sort of thing
it
like
could be
that.
location based. So you
Also
can
location.
have, North Canada or the
Toronto,
US,
Quebec,
or yeah.
or Montreal.
You can actually create
Oh,
segments based on those rules. I mean,
yeah,
based
of
on
course.
physical location, for example.
It makes sense because Montreal, they speak French. So you would want probably more of a French email than an English
Correct.
email. So depending on who you're selecting. So you
Yeah.
just put in the segment name and we select the contacts here. And I can just select the people right here just by clicking on the ones that I want. I can see also the organizations they belong to, and I can also search the contacts here. For example, if I type in Stacy, which happens to be my sister's name, and I can see if she's here. She's not here. Oh yeah, I forgot she's a actual salesperson. But I can type here and search. So for example, Mike, I can see Mike here will filter out. And once I have everything, I just click this button that I have consent to send emails to the contact selected, meaning I'm not spamming them randomly. Next, we have our email templates. So inside here, I can see my pre-designed template, my templates, and we can always add a new email template. And we can put in the email template name, such as, what's it called? Maybe sales event. Or maybe if it's based upon different holidays like Christmas, New Year's, Easter, depending on what you're required, you can put that in here. And then I can input the section. So for example, if I want to input a section, I can input a section up here. So it's just simple drag and drop. It's not where I have to go and try to figure out some crazy thing. I can drop in an image here and I can just double click. And then I'm just going to go to my Finder, but you can definitely go to any of your others. And I can just go and I can select one. So for example, maybe t-shirts, I just drop it in here. And I can see my image here. And I can just type in the text here. So like, good let's see, good t-shirts at a good price. Or it would be more of your messaging, what you want to say here and how you want to show it. I can also insert, for example, a text box if I want to. I can just drop it right on top. And then I can put in the information here, maybe a title of what I'm here to discuss. And then I can also select certain information. I can bold it. I can select any placeholders. You can see we have name here, like, hey, name of the contact, like, hey, Johnny. We got good.
I don't think we see that placeholder.
Oh, you don't see it?
Yeah, because I think it's a pop-up, so you can't see that.
Okay, you just click on this arrow here, and then you will be able to see it here. So just click on this little arrow on the side, and then you'll see it. And currently there's name, email, phone number, address, and organizations. So just give you an idea. I also can go here. Let me go to this one. Sorry, go here. And I can click on side here. And I can go typography. So if I think the font is too small, I can change it if I want. So you can see now it's nice and big. I can change the weight. Medium, bold, semi-bold, extra bold. And I can change the...
Shirts. you
oh,
shirts.
sorry.
Yeah, you might want to fix that.
Oh, it really changes the whole thing I'm selling, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
So-
thank you for catching that. I also want to show here that this is where you can...
So this is the beauty of doing it live. You know, you had all these moments and everything is right there in front of you. So
It's part of life. Just go with the flow.
Oh, yeah. So inside here, you can export the templates. And if you have a template that you like already, this is where you can import the template. So you can paste it on here. Just the key thing is that this footer here needs to have your address, and you must have an unsubscribe button. If you do not, then it's not part of the Anti-Spam Act. You have to have this here. Once everything looks good, I can just save it. Probably should add a picture here or something, but just give you an idea of saving it. And then I can now click on campaigns. Inside here, I can click add campaigns. I also can see a, what do you call this? A card view or a phone book view, or like a card view. And I can see all the information here, and I can drill in. I can go here and see statistics. And I can see when they've read it, read date, and count. Also, just to quickly show in segments, if I drill into segments, well, not mouse, that one I just created now, but for example, maybe keyboards, I can see here if they received the email, read the email, what's their label, and did anyone unsubscribe here, and the status active. So this way you know if anyone's unsubscribed, are they reading it or not, and what date they read it on. All right, let me go back to campaigns. Now let me add a campaign in here. Inside here, you can put in the campaign name, like Monday Matters. That's spelled correct. Yes, good. And I can call the subject maybe Monday Matters Sale, for example. Again, this is just the subject that you want to put in there. And this is where you can put your categories, so you can have different categories for each one of your campaigns. Then I click Next. I can select my segment. Currently, you only can select one segment at a time, so you just select the one segment. And also, I can create a segment here. Then I click Next, and you can see here I can always save it as a draft. So if I want to go and I'm not ready, or I need to change something, or I don't want to publish it yet, I can always save it as a draft. Next, we can select our templates, so I can see all the different templates here. And I can see my templates. So you can see this template is the template I just created.
So Vicky, anytime in between you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt. I mean, it's not like we have to wait for the end. You're here live, so you can, just go ahead and ask any questions.
I'm finding this very helpful, so thank you. But thank you.
So I just see here when I am looking at it, I'm just dragging, dropping anything I want to add, if I want to add anything. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is this one up here. So this one here is, oh yeah, let me just add an image quickly. Let's add this image. Yes. Here we go. It's a picture of me when younger and happier days.
Ooh.
So I can go here and see the full view. I can shrink it down and see the the tablet view, and I can see the email view here. And if everything looks good, I can save and continue. After that, I can continue editing. I can preview it if I want to continue changing it, or I can click next. Then I can put in the sender name, sender email address, and I can use a different reply to email address here. So if I want it to be replied to differently, this is where I put that in. Also, if I want to use my own, I can click use my own, and I can add in an email here. So I can put in the sender name, the email address, the username and password, and I can put the outgoing mail and the port here for the server and port, and allow non-secure certificates if I want to, and I can save it. You can have up to 5 accounts here. And as far as my understanding is, it's unlimited, but don't get yourself banned. I mean, don't go too crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially for people who have not run a lot of email campaigns, it's important that you follow the guidelines that are specified in CAN Spam Act. It is always good to have consent to send your email. Otherwise, chances are that your email address will get blocked, or even worse, banned by your provider, by other ISPs, by email systems. So once you get on the blacklist, it's a lot more difficult to get out of that. So follow good practices, right? So some practices that I have seen that help is is not having a lot of links in your email body. Try to not have too many images. Have maybe 1 or 2, max maybe 3 links in your email, and personalize your email. Use more text to send the message across. And if you follow these tips, then your chances of getting blacklisted are reduced a lot. And yeah, I mean, be in compliance with the CAN Spam Act. Give an option to unsubscribe. Put your physical address at the bottom of the email, and there are other tips. For example, personalize the email subject. So do not give a generic subject in your email. Use a personalized action oriented subject line. So for example, instead of saying um, tips for using Deskera, what you can do is you can say, hey, and then you can put the placeholder for name, which so the subject would actually read like, hey Vicky, uh, 5 tips on getting the most out of Deskera, or 5 ways that you can get the best usage from by using this particular feature.
So you put A first name.
Yeah, so you can put something like hey first name, as the placeholder in the subject itself. So that will personalize the message. It will personalize the subject, and the chances are that it will not go into spam. And if there is a direct benefit, that you have outlined in the subject of the email. So for example, instead of saying hey, 5 great features in Deskera, the subject could be find out how you can reduce 40% of your time by using Deskera. So, so that subject will, because it is a direct benefit to the person who's reading the email, the chances of it being opened are higher. And so yeah, these are some of the tips that you could follow when you're running an email campaign, instead of trying to crafting generic sounding subject lines. Try to put more value or benefit for the person who's reading the email in the subject and in the text of the email.
Can I ask a question actually? Because
Yeah, please.
sorry. So not everybody wants me to email them. Some people I know want me to send it through Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger or WhatsApp or different other social media avenues. So I can do that personally, but is that something that Deskera is planning to put in place going forward, where I can do it through your product?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we are aiming for is multi-channel campaign management system. So when I say multi-channel, email is one channel.
Okay.
Then we can have text, we could have Facebook, we could have LinkedIn, and these are all different channels that we want to add. Um, for text, we probably will use Twilio. For Facebook, we can have a direct integration with Facebook. Same goes for LinkedIn and other platforms as well. So definitely yes. I mean, the idea is that we will have a multi-channel campaign slash engagement platform, which will allow you to reach out to your desired audience on different channels.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So yeah. So going back to David and his continuation of the demo.
All right, so inside here, I can now either send now or I can schedule for later. And then I can choose the publish date. So inside here, I can see 8:26 p.m., which has already passed, so that will definitely not work. So I can choose the date. So for example, if I want it to be 1 a.m., I can just set it as 1 a.m. here. And then I can send a test memo, and I can save this draft, and I can schedule. Or I can just send it now and click send. So it's up to you on how you want to do it. And after I click send, you can see the campaign is scheduled successfully. I can see publish date, segment name, and campaign status. Now, if I go to the campaign, I can see it's scheduled. But if I refresh it, it should say sent. And after it says sent, still not sent? Oh, here, Monday Matters campaign, the one just below it. Sorry about that. Let's go here. This one here. How is it? Yeah, this one. 1/4/21. So it's just sending out, I guess. And I can unschedule here, close. Did I schedule it? Ah. Oh, okay, so it's sent out, it's just refreshing. And then you can just drill into it. I can see my information here. I'm able to click filters, and I can see filter out by read status. I can say what date they read it on, and I can apply the filter here. I can also search here. So for example, if I type in Eric, there we go. I can see Eric Lowe, for example, here. If I want to remove the search filter, I just delete it. And that's a quick look at campaigns.
Awesome.
Thank
you. And while we are on campaigns, there is a topic actually that we wanted to show later as well, which is related to CRM campaigns. And what it allows you to do is that once you have run a campaign, let's say you have a contact list of 1,000 email addresses, and you run a campaign, and then out of those 1,000, maybe 700 opened their email, and 500 clicked on some link, etc. within the email. So the filter option that David just showed allows you to filter out such contacts. And the feature that we are adding and that we will show today as well will allow you to quickly create a segment from an existing campaign. So then you can create follow-up broadcast to these people. So what you're doing is you are uh, creating, I mean, you are targeting your audiences in a better way by actually engaging more with people, or engaging in a different way with people who are more interested in the content that you had shared in your first podcast. So what that means is that that you can give more targeted information. You can be more specific about details or things that uh, the people who are reading your emails are interested in, while you can have a separate kind of a campaign for those who did not even open the email the last time around. Maybe you want to change the subject of the email that you sent to get some of them to open it. Maybe you want to try out a different approach. I mean, so it gives you an option to experiment a lot more, to basically. So imagine it I mean, it's a funnel. You have received, and then you have on the top of the funnel, you have number of sent emails. Then you have the number of people who receive the emails, because sometimes your email address book may not be up to date, so some of the emails will bounce. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you have people who actually opened the email, and below that you will have people who clicked on a link or did some action from within the email. Maybe you had a CTA in the email, and they clicked on it and they landed on a page that you wanted them to go to, right? So this funnel is going to keep reducing. That's why it's called a funnel, right? And uh, uh, for the ones that are not taking any action, you can easily create those segments. And also for the ones who are taking an action, you can separate them into two different segments, and you can run a different kind of campaign with both of these segments. So giving you more control over the targeting that you want to achieve with your email campaigns. So maybe so
Thank
that's something that we are adding, and David will show us today how you can create those segments. So David, can we quickly take a look at the? Actually, we are going to take a look at it later on. So let's follow the flow then. Let's
Okay.
not let's not jump. Okay, so Vicky, do you have any questions? I mean, any questions about running email campaigns? I mean, not specifically, just for Deskera, but any questions that you have about running email campaigns in general? How do you plan to generate a mailing list? Maybe you want to talk about that, or anything
um,
that you want to know from us, or maybe even from the community.
any suggestions that people can pass along, I think is great. So if there are other people that are watching this that have suggestions of what to do, I mean, I tend to use a more personal approach. So I wouldn't just like mass email tons of people. I would want to personalize, because most of my connections are people I know on some level. And to me, it's about personalization. It's making it between you and the other person. So I would be the one that like, hey, how are you doing? I would keep it probably a little bit more casual. I don't know if that's good or not good, but if it's somebody you don't want to keep it too business oriented. I think you have to kind of you have to use yourself a little bit. It has to be a bit more personal. I don't know if other people have feedback about that, but if it's somebody I kind of know more on a superficial level, I would keep it more business oriented, if that makes sense. Um, no, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I've already created my list and I'm importing my email addresses, and I have a list on paper though, but I am putting it into Deskera. And when if something pops up like a name I think of, I add it to my list. And I think the more you're on social media and you're communicating with different people, you're like, oh, I think this person could benefit. Like to me, there's no harm, right? Either they open it or they don't open it. Either they
Mhm.
engage or they don't engage. So I think you have nothing to lose by sending out, whether it's an email, a text message, something, just a message on Facebook. Um, Look, it's either no, I'm not interested, or they don't open it. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and until you send it to them, you will never know.
That's right. So any feedback, anybody who's watching, if they could provide, that would be great. Like I don't know if there should be a different approach, but that's my approach.
No, I mean, if so, more personal. I mean, greater personalization in your emails is always better. Uh, it helps you in multiple ways. One, um, from a technical perspective, the chances of your email being blocked by a spam filter or going into the junk folder reduces. Chances are that you will get through to your intended audience with a personalized message, with more personalization in your email. And that is one of the uh, key things that everybody. I mean, you read any blog on the internet, they will tell you that you need to personalize. Even no I mean, you don't want to send long emails. What you want to send are short, specific
Mhm.
emails that are personalized to for the audience that you are targeting. And if you do that effectively, then you have already like won half the battle.
Thank you. So I'm on the right track. That's good.
And that's a good topic. So, David, we should have some kind of a blog. I think there is a blog also that we have that talks about email marketing best practices, which we have on our Deskera blog. I'll put the link in the comment section or in the group as well. So, so if you haven't seen or gone through our blog, you might want to do that sometime. Just quickly go to deskera.com/blog, and there are categories there. So there is accounting, there is CRM, there is books. We are adding a new category called Academy,
Yep.
which will have all the getting started with Deskera
Nice.
articles there as well. We already have care in place, but that is a more very cut to cut kind of a thing that okay, you want to do this, you do one, two, three, but
Mhm.
talking a little bit more about why we want to do stuff. For example, when would you want to use digital products? Uh, when do you want to use non-track, when do you want to use tracked, and so on and so forth. So that's what we are trying to achieve with the academy. And there's a lot of information there. We have articles, as I said, on best practices for email marketing. We have articles, I mean, if you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur and you are setting up your business, then what are the best practices to follow there,
Mhm.
right? And a wealth of information that anytime you need, you can just look it up on your phone or on your desktop or your laptop.
Are you going to put that within the group on Facebook too? Because I think it's important. Because I don't think a lot of people know about the blog.
Let's do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
Okay.
great.
So,
So
anything?
yeah, so before we end this and we move to the product section, right? Any tips that you may have for our audience in terms of or any words of wisdom that you want to share with us?
In general, or about the
Up to
pandemic? What
you.
do you?
Up to you.
Look, I. It's been a very challenging year for me, and I know it's not just me. I think anybody around the world has dealt with issues they probably never thought they ever would. You know, I can speak even for my own kids. You know, they can't they never imagined this. They never imagined being in a full lockdown for 2.5 months, not being able to see their friends live, not being able to go to school. And I think youth, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about youth, I think are having a harder time almost than us as adults. I think we're a little bit more prepared in some ways. And for youth, it's not easy. You know, like imagine all of a sudden you can't go to school, you can't see your friends live. You know, you're relying only on this. And even though kids grew up with this technology, it's still not easy for them to adjust. And I think as an adult, because you don't have to be a parent, you could be an aunt, you could be an uncle, you could be just a friend of, one of your best friends. You're like an honorary aunt or uncle kind of thing. Pay attention, like really pay attention to youth and observe their behavior, because sometimes they show anxiety and they show fear in very different ways. And I think as an adult, we need to pay more attention to that. So I think even just amongst ourselves, like if I don't hear from somebody or I don't see somebody on social media, I actually send a private message like, hey, is everything okay? Because normally you're on social media. I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. So right away, my thought, of course, being a social worker, I'm kind of going, assuming it's something bad, which it isn't necessarily. You know, maybe they're just going through a challenging time or something came up. So I would just ask that people reach out a bit more to their connections, pay attention to the people around you. You know, I know my neighbors. If I don't, if I see that my neighbor hasn't shoveled their walk, I'm concerned, right? I'm gonna go knock on their door and be like, keeping my distance, of course, but hey, is everything okay? So, if anything, although there's been a lot of challenges with the pandemic, I think it's also been an opportunity for many of us to learn and grow. I think we've learned what's really important in our lives. And a lot of people were like so into materialistic things and whatever, and like it's gone by the wayside. Like people just focus on having the basics now. Like, do you have food on your table? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have clothes to wear? Do you have internet access? And we're lucky because there are people in other countries that don't have some of those things. And I think we should just count our blessings, So I always try to be optimistic. I try to focus on the positive, and I find some people it's very hard, and maybe you need to be that person that makes that other person smile. Tell a joke, check in with them, tell a funny story, or just be there for them. So I think I want people to focus on that. The one thing, and I say this about Deskera, I say it about different communities that I'm part of. I love that community feeling, and I love that it's like a family, and you don't have that hesitation. You'll just check in with somebody, send a message, tell a funny joke, in a proper way, of course, not a clean joke, as I'll put it. Um, so I think my tips and tricks are really more that just you can't be so self-absorbed anymore. I think people really need to think of other people. Um, that would be most of my tips and tricks. So I do let people know, and I don't want a huge mass of people messaging me, but because of my area, because I am a social worker, and I have the time, although I do limit digital for a variety of reasons, don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you're going through a difficult time, and the holidays have been very difficult, I had a lot of people that reached out to me because it brought up memories for them. Parents have
Mhm.
passed away. Unfortunately, I've had colleagues that children have died. I've had friends that, their sister died or their brother died or their aunt died, and related to COVID or not. And I think we just need to be compassionate, caring humans. That's how I would put it. The only other thing I would suggest for anybody that is going through a difficult time is a gratitude journal is amazing. It's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is you write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. You should start your day off that way, and you should end your day that way. It changes your whole perspective. So that's a tip or trick I would suggest highly.
That's yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that with us, Vicky. I think gratitude journal sounds a great thing. Maybe something that I should start doing as well. So
I'll
I mean,
say quickly, the benefit is if you're doing that every day, what's kind of fun is you go back a month later and you start reading and you realize what changes and how your gratitude for what you have changes and what you write changes. But by doing that, you're changing your mindset, you're changing your perspective. And if you're grateful, then you're not missing something, are you? You're focused on what you have, you're focused on positive, you're focused on moving forward. And to me, that's huge. So that's one of my huge lessons this year. And kindness. So gratitude and kindness, I think, are super important. So kind of
okay.
off topic from Deskera, but still.
No, no. This is. I mean, these are great. I mean, this is great advice, and yeah, I mean, folks, be there for each other, right? And be thankful for what we have, and let's try to help those who don't have that. Yeah, that's what the community is all about,
Yeah.
right? So thank you so much once again, Vicky, for coming live today and being a part of this live Teskera Monday Matters webinar. Uh, and yeah, I mean, we'll continue to be in touch as
Yes.
always.
Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting. And I think this is awesome, by the way. I think this is, it's kind of I don't mean to sound slang, but it's kind of nice. I won't say neat that you get to know people in the community that maybe you're only messaging within the group on Facebook, and all of a sudden you get to see them live. It's very different, and it's how you get to learn about each other. So I think this is great. I don't know who came. I don't know if it was Shashank or who came up with this, but I think it's fantastic that you're doing this. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vicky, and you have a great day.
You too.
Uh, Great. So let's move to let's take a look at our agenda sheet. So what we have next is something that we released quite recently. In fact, today we have added quick actions to books. Now, what quick actions allow you to do is that you can quickly, do stuff without having to do like multiple clicks, and we will see how in more detail. With so handing it over to David to show us how quick actions work in Deskera books.
Excellent. So inside here, you'll notice that we have our notifications, our help, our invite, but now we got a plus sign here that says create. And if I click on it, I can create a new quote, new invoice, new order, and a new bill. So let's create a new invoice. So you see, as soon as I click there, I'm at the invoice creation screen. I did not have to go to sell and click create invoice, I can just click this plus sign and go and create it. And I just go in here and select my contact. Stacy's Gadgets, add in a line item. Let's see. Apple computers. I can put in the quantity. As always, you can just hover over and see the available quantity here. So I can see I have 20, so I'm just going to sell 10. I'm just going to save it. So you can see it's that simple. I was able to create it. I did not have to go and to the sell screen to actually create. I can just click on this plus sign here. And for example, if I then go to, for example, products, you can see the plus sign is still here. I can actually go to my contacts now. And let's say, let's see, Stacy's Gadgets, I click here. You can see now we also have create new. So if I select Stacy's Gadgets, I can click create new, and I can do a new invoice here. And you'll notice Stacy's Gadgets is now the contact that's been added. You don't have to go and select the contact. Just click the contact, create new. All of a sudden it's there. And I can just put in here again. Let's see, Apple computers. This time maybe I'll just do 5. And I'll save. And you can see here, it's now been added. It's that simple.
Wonderful, David. Thank you for showing us quick actions in live action. So, and we will keep expanding on this theme across all different applications. So it's not just going to be in books, but there are so many places where we can add such quick actions. For example, in CRM, let's say I want to quickly create a deal for a contact. I can just select a contact. I can do a deal there. I can do multiple. I can also do bulk actions, and all of these QOL changes and updates will keep coming your way as we continue improving the system in 2021. Now, let us take a look at the second feature that we have for you today, which is the ability to create segments from your existing campaigns. And over to David to show us that.
All right, so we just clicked on campaigns. Inside here, I can see my campaign, and I can see the number of people that have looked at it. Oops, sorry. Let me go back then. 1 second. All right. All right, so we're in campaigns, and we're going to just drill on in. I can see the number of people that saw it, and we click on in. Then inside here, I can see who's read, who's not read, and I know that this person's reading and these 3 are not. How sad. Then I can click the check box and check which ones I want, and I can click Create Segment. So let's click Create Segment, and then I can put in the segment name. So new segment or add an existing segment. So if it's a new segment, I can just type in the name, new segment, from, existing, and I can see all 4 of those there. And then I can save. So now the segment's been added. Now if I click to marketing and click on segment, you can see new segment from existing, and they have those 4 members. So you see, I can just create a new segment directly from that campaign itself. So for example, if some people are not, what's it called? So if some people are not actually, seeing the segment, so inside here, if they're not actually reading it, and I see all these people that have read it, I can select the ones that have all read it because I know they're active. So then I can create a new segment for it and send it off to them because I see they're replying all the time. Also, I can see these 3 are inactive. No matter what I send, they don't unsubscribe, but they don't bother to read. So that way I can create new segments in order to go forward.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, David. So yeah, I mean, this will allow you to create more targeted segments, so you can send more personalized emails to them. Okay, we have a question here from Shashi. So the question is, any plan to scan visiting business cards to Deskera to automate contacts updates like CamCard? We actually have that on the mobile phone, but in beta version. So it is only available in some geographies, but it will be available in all geographies as well. Okay, let's quickly see if we have any other questions. Uh, mm,
No other question.
yeah, no other questions. So yeah, let's proceed on with the demo for Deskera Books, Deskera CRM, and Deskera People with David the Voice. And uh, over to you, David.
All right, so we're in Deskera Books and we're at the dashboard. I always like to show this because you can see your invoices, your age receivable, your bills, your banks. I can select which bank I want here. And hopefully it's always going up and not going down. I can see my cash flow and I can see my profit and loss here. Okay, so let's go on to sell, or no, let's go on to buy. Let's buy some stuff. So inside here, actually I should use the quick links, but okay. So inside here I can click create new, and I can create a new order, new bill, or a new expense bill. In new expense bill, this is where you add in your accounts. So if I have a specific account I am looking for, I can select my account, and then I can put the description and the amount here to this contact. So you can think of it like your electricity, your telephone bill, your internet bill, stuff that are not physical products, but you're paying for it. So you just hit the account directly. You don't have to actually go and create a product for that. Let's go create new. I'm going to create a new order. Just going to add a contact. Jim's Electronics. Add a product line here. Add a product. So for example, Apple computers. I just sold 20, so I want to buy 20 back. And just to show you here, we have our order number. And this is where you can manually input. Some questions I get is, do I have to start my number at 1 or can I change it to something else? You can actually manually input the number and it should automatically change to the number if it's the larger number. So if I put in 50,000, then the next one should be 50,001, 50,002, and stuff like that. So long as it's your first one. I can also add custom number formatting here by putting prefix separator, display digit separator, and suffix. We put in our global custom fields here. So I can put supplier code, project, and outlet. I can select my multi-currency options here. And now I can select my currency. For example, if I want to be in euro, and I can update it. And I can also set recurring. So this is where I can set the recurring period. So is it monthly, weekly, custom, yearly? And I can select if it's custom, how many days per week, per month, per day. And so for example, like every 5 days. And I can select the first document date and the ending document date, or does it never end? So I can set all this up here. And then I can save it. And that's how you create it here. And then you can process it all the way to bills if you want to. Also, my filter. Why hasn't my filter turned to the new year, Sarab? Why is it still in January 2020 and not January 2021?
That would be down to probably the financial year, etc. that you choose.
Okay, sounds good. So I can select my filters here. And then I can go to my bills. See all my records here, and I can just click here, pay. And actually, let me pay with euro. So I'm going to click pay. You can see my currency here and my bank. So this is my euro bank. I can change this, of course, to USD. And then you can see this is changed to my USD banks. So I can do my bank transfer, choose a date, reference number. Click next. I can update my exchange rate because, of course, no matter how hard I try, the bank never accepts my rate, no matter how much I beg. And then I pay. And it's paid, and I can print and close. Okay. In Cell, we have the same process. Just the key thing I want to show here is that if I go to Invoices and I click on the 3 dots here, and I set recurring. Inside here, you'll notice we can set recurring monthly, first date, and ending date, or never ends. But the other thing I want to show is the auto send function here. So inside here, this is where you can put the to, the invoice, change the text, and then you can send a copy, and you can also insert a payment link. So if you're connected to Stripe, this is where you can send out the payment link. And inside here, I can also select my template. And if you see this button here, this little icon, that means it's set for recurring. If it's grayed out somewhat like this, it means it's already sent all its emails out. All right, anything else I want to show here? Let's see. Just to mention, we have 3 different types of products. We have, of course, non-tracked, which is like our service products, like electrician, plumber, engineer. They're doing services, they're getting paid for hours or maybe a certain task, but they're not kept track. It's not something I can put on a shelf. It'd be interesting if you could put your 12 hours I'm putting on the shelf and saving it for this period of time, and we just build it up. But no, use it or lose it. We have tracked. So very simply, this is where we have our materials. This is our products in our inventory. And then it's reduced based upon or increased based upon buy and sell. And we have our bill of materials. Just to mention, tracked inside here under inventory, we have enable advanced tracking. So this is where you can do your batch tracking and serial number tracking. And of course, we have our bill of materials, which I always like to consider like chicken soup, where you have to add in your different components like the broth, the chicken, the noodles, the carrots, and then you have to assemble them by putting them in a pot and boiling them. So you have additional cost here, you know, cooking the product and putting in the subtotal. All right. And let me just show you the apps because I saw something new with apps recently. Inside here, of course, we have our Veeam connection, our PayPal, and our Stripe connection where you do your payments. We have our fixed assets. We have WooCommerce. We have Integrity. How do you say it? Integrately. Pabbly is now new. So these are the 2 new things. I see it here now. We have our USPS, United States Postal Service tracking, FedEx tracking, stock transfer, stock adjustment, and Zapier connection. But these are the 2 things I saw, which I think is pretty cool. All right.
So I think there are a couple of questions. So let's go through them quickly. So there's first, we have a question / feature from Kushagar Kazi, require independent numbering series in all transactions. Yes, we are working on that. So I would say around about end of Jan, maybe early Feb is when we can see this feature around about maybe in 4 to 6 weeks time. Then the next question is from Christ Wolves. Has Yodlee come back from New Year? We have written to them today. I mean, still waiting for a response back from the Yodlee team. So let's hope that we get a response today itself, and we can quickly close out the final steps of the integration. Then there's a question from Rodrigo. Please also include Integromat. It's already. I mean, we have already submitted all the work that we needed to do for Integromat over to them. Now it's pending on Integromat side. So I don't think that there should be any problem. It's just New Year's, so probably they will. People are on leave, and when they come back, this will also get approved. So Integromat also should be available soon. Next. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Kushagar said this is required when we did code to.
Yeah. So that's the same topic that we had. Okay, which is.
So we move on to the next part.
Yeah. Let's jump to Deskera CRM.
All right, let's go to Deskera CRM. By the way, when are you going to change the label? I've always seen as Deskera Sales.
we have updated the favicons. Oh yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but there are different favicons now for different applications. So sales is blue, Deskera sales. Deskera books is blue. Deskera sales is red, and people is a different color. So there are three different colored favicons now.
Can you show?
Yep, I'm opening up people right now. You can see blue for Deskera books, red for Deskera CRM, and orange for Deskera people. You can see the colors here.
So yeah, I mean, so because sometimes it's when you have too many tabs open, it's difficult to read the entire thing, and everything becomes Deskera, Deskera, Deskera. So now by looking at the favicon, you can quickly switch to the desired application.
Just one thing though, when I click on design, it also looks like it's red. Are you planning to have a different color for that one?
Huh?
Meaning when I click on design, you can see in books, it's also red.
We will update that.
Okay, just curious. Maybe make it bright
Red is
yellow.
also our universal color. So
Very true. Excuse me. All right, so we're at Deskera sales. This is where we have our organizations, people, deals lost, deals won, our contacts report, any upcoming activities, our default pipeline, 6 months. I can change the pipeline here as well and see the changes. So easily I can change the screen. I can see the past 6 months for deals won versus deals lost. I can see campaigns, tickets all here. And you can see I can create a deal or go to deal on each one of these buttons. Create a ticket, create a deal, create a campaign, create a contact, or add activity. Now, quickly, we're just going to go to contacts. So inside here, just to show, we have our filters. So this is where you can filter your owner, your sub-owner, your visibility, your label, and add custom filters. So like if I have food type, remarks, department, title, and then I can select the values. So for example, I can go to department, I can select the value here, input the value here, and apply the filter. We also have up here, this is where you can see all contacts, people, and organizations. So if I want to filter out the organization, you can see here. If I want to see a phone book, I can see the phone book. I see Kate Austin's here. Organization has nothing. Rick Ryan is here. I can see who's under Apple Electronics, all on the screen. And also we have the quick search function here. So, for example, if I type in Austin, you can see it filters out Austin. We also have our imports, create contacts. And if I click here, we have Indonesia in B. So I'm assuming that's beta.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you switch over, then you will. Just do a quick switch over to Bahasa.
Sure.
Take a look. So everything changes. So it's already there, and you can use CRM in Bahasa now. We'll add other languages as well.
All right, so we saw campaigns earlier. We have our services, our activities. So let's create a deal. I always like creating a deal. So inside here, I can click the plus sign, qualify to buy. I can see the list view. And just to show you, if I click here and select all and I change the pipeline, it will change all of them. Please be very careful of this. So if I click here and say qualify to buy, they'll all be turned to qualified to buy decision. So be careful when you select all and you change pipeline. You can also change the visibility. I'll change all the visibility. And I can click here and change the owner, and all of them will be changed as owner. And plus I can export here as well.
Whichever ones you select.
Yeah, whichever ones I select, you can change. So if you want to change specific ones, then you can change specific ones. For example, if I change this and I go here to default pipeline and I say presentation scheduled, these will be changed to presentation scheduled. Just be careful you do the select all option. Then all of a sudden, everything goes a little bit crazy. Meaning it'll process, it'll all go to that stage, but then it becomes very confusing what they aren't. All right, so let's create a deal. Monday Matters deal. I can select the organization here, so maybe Austin Circuits. And I can see Kate Austin is our contact. I can put the deal value in. And I can put the value in here. So this dollar value is based upon your Deskera books. So if I select tax registry as USD, it'll show USD. If I select Canada, this should show as Canada. Also, the default phone number should also be the same way. for your contacts. So I've saved it. I can see it here. I can click here on my wonderful view. I can click on this. And inside here, I always like to point out that these three dots up here is where you can edit it. So edit deals, delete deals. I can see the necessary information. I can create any custom fields here. I can connect my email. So what does this mean when I connect my email? It means that I can send an email out from here. And if the customer writes back, it'll send the email back to me and I can see it here. So it keeps track of the conversation so long as I communicate inside here. I can create activities. So inside here, I can do a call, meeting, task, deadline, email, and lunch. So maybe I'll just do a quick call. And I can select the time here. Duration assigned to. And I can also here send invite. So for example, Kate Austin and Austin Circuits. Send invite and save. I can see it here. And once it's complete, I just click the checkbox. I can do any notes, do any logs. I click won deal or lost deal here. Now inside here, I can just drag and drop. So if I want to do qualified to buy, I can go here, decision maker to buy in. So literally, I'm just dragging and dropping to wherever I want to put it. And in the end, I can say contract sent, and I can say closed won or closed lost. I just drag it in here. And if I lost, I have to reason why. It's Monday. And I can save it. The dashboard gets updated. I can see my activities here, and my activities will get updated here. So I can see all my activities. And just to give you some information, we also have the generate calendar URL. This is where you can copy it, and then you can paste it into your Gmail calendar, and it'll start showing. So for example, sorry, I should have had this up and running earlier.
It's incognito, right?
It's incognito. Oh, wow. Add another account. Okay. That's not the one I wanted. Okay. Yep, just logging in. Of course they would do that. It's incognito. They don't trust me at all. They think I'm some sort of crazy, weird person trying to steal this wonderful person's information.
I think that, typing in, signing into Google with, while live on YouTube is probably one of the most stressful things that you can do because you have to get your password right.
Oh, yeah.
And you cannot click on show password because everybody will know what you use. So.
Very true. And then everything is like, no, yes, no. What's that terrible saying? What can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time.
Murphy.
Murphy. So I can click here and I can add a calendar. So if I click the plus sign, and then I can do from URL here, and I can paste the URL here, and I can add it. And add the calendar. And it won't let me because I've already added the calendar. It's actually down here under Deskera CRM. So I think if I delete this and then add it back, I think it should let me, right? URL, put the URL, add calendar. Yep.
Oh, you have to make it public. Oh, yeah.
Calendar added, yeah. So now here we go. And I can put in some meaningful name. And now I've updated it. And I can go back. And now my calendar's here. And after some time, it should start showing all my wonderful activities. So if I go back in time, you can see here, my calls, my meetings. It's showing all the wonderful alerts from activities coming from CRM. So that's a quick look.
Wonderful. Thanks, David. And let's take a look at a few questions here. There is one that I see from Shirley. Do you have anything that can track company assets on Deskera? Get requested by employees and then we allot it to them. We have fixed assets module that you can use to track company assets that are owned by you and their depreciation of value over a period of time. Um, but you cannot track who it is allotted to, or I mean, but you can theoretically add some fields there or notes there uh, to identify who that asset has been allotted to. I mean, that can be done, but we don't have specifically that function, that as a function. Maybe we can take a quick look at fixed assets, David.
Sure. All right, so inside here, I'm at the apps page. So I can click on fixed assets and then open. Then I'll open my fixed asset screen. So I can click here and see my asset groups. And I can add a group here, such as maybe cars. Then I can do the asset, deposit, investment, fixed asset, accumulated depreciation, leasehold improvement. I can choose the account. For the accumulated depreciation, I can choose the depreciation expense account. So which one I want to use. And then I can go to accounting. Now, which is my depreciation method? Is it no depreciation, straight line, or instant asset write-off? I'm going to do straight line. Is it full month or actual days? And then I can do the rate. So 10 rate. So 10%. Effective life years, 10. And then I can add the asset group. After that, I can click here and see the status. Is it active or deactive? I can click on the three dots, edit, copy, deactivate, or delete. Next, I can go to fix assets and I can add an asset. So maybe I'll put in the license plate of the car, which is completely, does not make sense. I can put in the serial number. I can say, is this an opening asset or not? I can put in the purchase date. So maybe I purchased on the 1st. I can put in the asset auto number format. So I can add a manual or select the running. I can put in the purchase price, $100,000. I can put any description here. John's car, very expensive. I can put in the contact details. So this is where I'm buying it from. So for example, maybe I bought it from Tech Deals. I can select the auto format, the billing date, the due date. And then I can go to accounting here. And I can select the group, depreciation start date, depreciation threshold, any residue value, depreciation method. And I can see the rate here. And then once everything looks good, I can add the asset. Now the asset's been created. Now I can go to depreciation schedule and I can see the schedule for all asset groups, or I can select which one. After that, I can post depreciation by selecting it or roll back. But currently it was just bought in January, so there's no depreciation yet.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how you can, I mean, using the description field, you can keep a track of who that particular asset has been assigned to. And let's see if there are any other questions. No questions. So let's move to Deskera people and go through running payroll, expenses, and leaves.
All right, so we're at Deskera people. So inside here, I like to show the pay schedule because we can add the pay schedule now. And if you were not aware, we now have monthly, weekly, twice per month, and bi-weekly. So you can select which one. You can select the work week. So for example, this strange one where you only work Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday and Saturday. You can select the payment date, payday, the last pay date, the work period, and applicable to all users or specific user. You're able to set up your employees. So go inside here. Just 1 second. And this is where you can put in your employee name, like Jim Smith. Put in the email address, phone number, designation, plus demo 501. Any designation. Let's see. Date of birth. He was born in 2014, 1992. And then you can put the date of joining and date of confirmation. You can put in the address. Okay, that looks good. And I can put in full-time basic salary. So for example, maybe 1,000. I can say per year, very sad. Per month, not so great. Per hour, insane. So you can decide on what you want to do there or update the salary accordingly. And then I can do any payment methods. After that, I can put any components. So you can think of components like bonuses, commission, stuff like that as real life examples. And also I can delete them here if they're non-applicable. And then next, I can put in the social security number. So this is all based upon statutory requirements. For example, in the US, we have social security number. In Singapore, we have, of course, your FIN number, your, what's it called? All your different numbers there, and you can select if you're, employment pass, S pass, or work permit holder. So it all depends on your statutory requirements. So based upon the country you select, like Canada's different, US is different, Singapore is different, Malaysia will be different. So it's all based upon your statutory requirements, and then you can save. After that, I can just click Run Payroll. So I'm just adding a pay run. And I just can click Add, select the schedule. And then I can just go here and select the work period. For example, January to 31st, apply. Applicable to all users, and then I can process the payroll. After that, I can see the information, and I can remove the people I don't want. So I can just go and delete it. I can also select overtime here as well. 1.5 and 2. And if everything looks good, I can continue to process. And it says update the hours, overtime hours, and hours will be reflected on the next. After that, I click next. Then I click process payroll. To ensure accuracy, please review your payroll numbers and make sure they are 100% correct. Do you wish to continue to proceed payroll? Yes. So after that, I can see here the payroll's processed. I can view the summary, make sure if everything looks good. And if everything looks good, then I can go and click Finish. If I don't want to process, I can click Cancel here. After it's processed, I can actually just drill in. So if I want to view, I just click on the eye icon, and I can see the information here. Also under Employee List, if I want to see the information and do the pay stubs, I just can click on Kelly and just drill in. And I can see the information here as well. All her pay stubs are here, earnings, bonuses, and all that. Now let's go to eLeave.
So before we go to eLeave, there is a question. Let's address that quickly. It's from Chris. Any update for Malaysia payroll compliance phase 2, which would include auto calculation of SOXO, EPF, etc.? Answer is yes. We will have it out this week. So stay tuned to our Facebook group. As I said, this week is when we will have all of that out, including all the reports and everything else. There's another question from Shirley about Indian payroll. We do not have Indian payroll added at the moment. Um, what you can do is you can put in the values yourself using the components that are available there. But no, the payroll compliance for India is not there right now, but we will be adding it in the future.
Okay.
Right. So going back to David, who will take us through leave and expense.
All right. So inside here, you can see your e-leave, and I can see 6 leave, unlimited leave, yearly leave, all here on my screen. And I can just go and I can just do applications and create a new leave application here. I can just select the leave type. So for example, if I want to do my yearly leave, I select the date. So for example, tomorrow, I apply, and I can say here, reason, doctor's appointment. And I also can say full day or half day, first half or second half. So maybe I want to take this in the second half, and then I can apply. And then I just go to pending. I can see which is pending here, and I can edit it. I can delete it, which is very cool. I can see approved and rejected, and I can go see requests here. And I can see in a request, and you can see here, I can see the checkbox or the red X. I'm going to just click the checkbox. So that means my boss is approved, which makes me very happy. And that's a quick look at e-leave.
Awesome. So let's move on to expense now. There are
Okay.
no wait. There is a question. Once you add employees to system, is there an onboarding mail sent? Yes. So when you add employees or when you invite users to the system, they receive an email, and that email gives them the option to log in and set their password, etc.
You can create that.
It's a system generated email that you get. So you don't have to send it individually. The system will send it, will send the email with the details of how to log in, and it will help them to create their password, etc.
So we should go on to expenses?
Yep.
Excellent. So inside here, I can see my expenses. I can review, see weekly, monthly, quarterly. I can see the admin settings, and I can do new claims. So inside here, I can put in the merchant, Delta Airlines. Hopefully, we'll be flying soon. Now I can buy my ticket. How much is my ticket? My category, it's travel. Any description here? San Fran, go to Los Angeles. I can submit. Then after that, I can see submitted. I can see my Delta airline. I click the 3 dots. And click the 3 dots. I can duplicate or print. Then I can see the submitted here. I can go to admin. And I can reject or accept. So for example, maybe I'll reject it.
Cool.
And that's a quick look at expenses.
Awesome. So thank you so much, David, for taking us through the entire system. So with that, we are at the end of today's session. And once again, a great thank you to Vicky Brewster for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you online, and we got some great advice from you on dealing with challenges and difficulties, as well as being there for each other. Also, extremely glad that you are using Deskera and you plan to reach out to more people, and we are in a way working with you through the application to reach out to more people and improve their lives, and it's a very encouraging thought for us. So with that, Thank you to everyone for asking your excellent questions, and to David for taking us through the demo for the entire system. And once again, wishing you a very happy new year. And let's hope that it is a vast improvement on the year that just went by. Uh, and I have a feeling that it will be. So, with that, signing off for today. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.